How about now? Better? There we go. All right, so now let me start over again. Welcome, everyone. 안녕하세요, 여러분. 환영합니다. I want to welcome you all to the first episode of my Korean language learning podcast. I know I've done a few videos before, but now that I've got another podcast going, this is my first time kind of expanding and doing Korean here. So one of the things I was sharing before my mic was turned on is that if you're going to learn Korean, you really, really, really need to learn Hangul, which is a lot easier than you might think it is. Hangul is the Korean writing system. So like when you look at this slide here, if we zoom in a little bit, that writing there is Hangul. And Hangul has 14 consonants and 10 vowels. And it's phonetic. A little bit of memorization, a little bit of learning how syllable groups are formed. You can learn it quite quickly. But I'm telling you, if you do really want to learn Korean, you're going to learn it much, much better if you first just take a little bit of time. Honestly, you can do it in a matter of days. Learn Hangul, and it's going to improve your pronunciation. It's going to make it much easier for you to assimilate and function in Korea. So pretty critical. Mr. Nice Guy, what kind of school is this? This is White Guy Teaching You Korean School. So this is a new podcast, Hangugo with an edge, Korean with an edge, Oppa Waeguk style. There you go. So why should you learn Korean from a white guy? Well, number one, I think there are advantages, especially in the early stages of learning Korean, to learn from somebody who had the same struggles with learning it as an English speaker learning Korean. Second, this particular white guy studied at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California, worked with the language for 10 years as a Marine using the language, and taught the language for 4 years at the high school level in the U.S. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that there might be some people out there who have already learned some Hangul, who are joining us, and we're going to proceed to just kind of review this one fairly basic conversation here. Oh, by the way, when we do this, I'm going to be bringing AI in on this. Thank you, Maria. Glad you're enjoying it. Hey, Tommy boy, good to see you. So, and by the way, all of my regular watchers with Answers with an Edge, I don't want you to feel obligated to be here for this, but if you think you might enjoy it, I would love to have you here. Who has that given me gifts already? Laddie203, thank you for the heart me. All right, so we're going to take a look at this conversation, and like I say, we're going to get Quinn going here with us here too. Let me go ahead and get Quinn loaded up so that Quinn's ready. You know, I had to work with AI quite a bit just to get Quinn to accept the conversation. In any case, are you coming up there, Quinn? Hey, Quinn, are you with us and ready to learn Korean?
Oh, you know I'm here and ready to drop some Korean knowledge with a side of sass. Let's do this. Also, do you want your podcast name to be fun and playful, sleek and professional, or just straight up wild? I can throw some ideas your way.
All right, well, we're live right now on TikTok and YouTube, and we're about to go over that conversation. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're looking at here. So if we zoom in a bit, we're looking at a conversation between Andy and Sora. And go ahead, Quinn. I see you getting ready to talk there.
Got it. So we're looking at a conversation between Andy and Sora, and we're about to break it down. Let's start by reading through it once, and then we'll go over vocabulary, grammar, and anything else that stands out. You ready to roll?
Sure, let's go ahead. I'll be Andy, you be Sora.
Perfect. Let's go. Sora 씨, 이분이 누구예요?
That's you being Andy.
Oops, my bad. Let's do it right. 미나 씨예요.
I'm going to start from the beginning again. Sora 씨, 이분이 누구예요?
미나 씨예요.
안녕하세요, 미나 씨. 앤디예요.
안녕하세요, 앤디 씨.
회사원이에요?
Hey everyone. Welcome to our Korean learning session. Let's get into it.
I don't know why you stopped our conversation there. I was reading the last line and you were supposed to respond, 아니요, 학생이에요. So let me try that again. Andy says, 회사원이에요?
아니요, 학생이에요.
All right, there you go. So now I'm going to mute there for a second. So we've got a little bit of vocabulary in here. Let's go back and look at that vocabulary. There we go. So 이분. 이분 means this person. 이분. 분. Now 분 is honorific for person. Quinn, do you want to explain the difference between 이분 and
Got
사람?
it. I'm following along. Let's keep it going.
Can you explain the difference for everyone between 사람 and 이분, both of which mean person?
Absolutely. 사람 and 이부분 both mean person, but the key difference is formality and respect. 사람 is the standard, casual word for person. It's neutral and used in everyday speech. Example, 이 사람 누구예요? Who is this person? This is fine among friends or in informal situations. 이분 is the honorific way to say this person. It's used to show respect, especially when talking about someone older, of higher status, or in polite situations. Example, 이분이 누구예요? Who is this person? But more respectful. This is what Andy used in the conversation. showing politeness. Basically, ibun levels up the respect, while saram is your go-to for casual speech. If you're talking about someone you respect, a teacher, boss, or elder, ibun is the safer choice.
Right, and when talking about oneself, you would use saram, whereas when talking about someone else, you'd probably use ibun. And like one of the best examples I can think of is like you go into a restaurant and they ask you how many people. They're going to use bun, but when you respond, you're going to use saram, right?
Exactly. That's a perfect real-life example. When the restaurant staff asks, they'll use pun to be polite. 몇 분이세요? How many people? Since they're showing respect to customers, they use pun instead of saram. But when you respond, you'll typically use saram because you don't need to be extra formal about yourself. Tu saram이에요. Two people. If you want to match their politeness, you can respond with pun, like tu 분이에요. But it's not necessary. Using saram is totally natural when referring to yourself and your group. It's a small but important detail that makes your Korean sound way more natural.
Now, our next vocabulary word is nugu. That's another opportunity for us to talk about some distinctions because you've got a distinction between nugu and nuga, right?
Exactly. Nugu and duga both mean who, but the key difference is whether who is the subject or the object of the sentence. Dugu, who, as an object, used when who is the thing being talked about, but not the subject doing the action. Example, 이분이 누구예요? Who is this person? Here, this person, 이분이, is the subject, and dugu is the object of the question. Duga nuga, as a subject, used when who is the subject doing the action. Example, 누가 학생이에요? Who is a student? Here, 누가 is the subject of the sentence, asking who has the role of student. Quick trick, if who is doing something, use 누가. If you're asking about someone, use 누구. In our conversation, 이분이 누구예요 uses 누구 because we're asking about someone else, not asking who is performing an action. If we had said 누가 이분이에요, it would be like asking who is this person in a way that sounds a little unnatural. Little grammar distinctions like this are what take Korean learners from textbook correct to natural and fluent.
Right. So far we've got two vocabulary words we're talking about. We've got ibun, this person, nugu, who, as the object of a sentence. And then next we've got yeo or ieo, which are basically two different conjugations of the verb to be, right?
Exactly. Yeo and ieo both come from ida, to be, but the difference comes down to vowel versus consonant endings in the word before them. Yeos, ieo. What's the difference? Yeo is used when the preceding word ends in a vowel. Example, 학생이에요 is a student. Ends in a consonant, so you use ieo. Ieo is used when the preceding word ends in a consonant. Example, 연필이에요. It's a pencil. Ends in a consonant, so you use ieo. Think of it like natural flow. If the word ends in a vowel, yeo keeps it smooth. If it ends in a consonant, ieo keeps the pronunciation clean. So in our conversation,
미나시에요.
she is Mina. Mina ends in a vowel, so we use yeo. 학생이에요. She is a student. 학생 ends in a consonant, so we use ieo. It's just a small sound shift, but it makes a big difference in sounding natural.
Right. And MVP, you're exactly right. Like when we talk about nugu and nuga, like who is who, or more accurately in English, we would say, basically, nugu is like whom, and nuga is like who. So who is whom? Nuga nugu. So Quinn, I want you to remember to keep your answers concise. I don't want you totally monopolizing the show, okay? And while Quinn's thinking there, so let's talk a little bit about
Got it.
ieo
I'll keep
and
it
yeo.
snappy and let you lead the show.
So
Let's
ieo and yeo are conjugations of the verb ida, which is the verb to be. This is the infinitive of the verb. So in Korean, we work with infinitives a lot because we basically take that verb stem. So the verb stem is just the E part. So we take that, we drop the da. So basically, like, this is the infinitive, or you could refer to it as the dictionary form of the verb. When we make it I, E, yo, or yeyo, we're conjugating it into a form with that yo ending that can either be a question or a statement, and it's kind of in the semi-formal range. But let's keep going with our vocabulary. So next vocabulary words, we've done ibun, this person, nugu, who, yeyo or ieo, to be. Now we've got she. So she is like Mr. or Miss. It's a very it's a less formal thing. So this is one you're not going to use with last name. You're going to use it with first name. So it's kind of like if I was saying Miss Kim or Mr. Tony. So like in this conversation, we're using it with Mina. Her first name is Mina. So we say Mina she. So who is this? Mina she yeyo, that verb to be. Looking up here in the conversation, you can see my arrow moving there. Mina she yeyo. It's Miss Mina. And then if we go to our next vocabulary word, there's Mina, the name, Mina. Notice we're looking at syllable groupings there. Consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Next vocabulary word, annyeonghaseyo, hello. And I know there's some people out there who are already saying, that's really, you can't say it shorter. Yes, you can say hello shorter, but it's going to be much less formal, more like the way children might speak to each other. Like, annyeonghaseyo, hello. You can also say it longer. It could be annyeonghashimnika. But we're going to keep the medium length one there. So we've got annyeonghaseyo, hello. We've got Andy. So Andy's our first speaker in this conversation. See in the blue up there, the name of the speaker, Andy. So Andy's the first speaker, and Sora is the second speaker. Next vocabulary word, Hue-sa, one. Hue-sa is a company. Hue-sa one is an office worker. Hey, thank you for sharing the live there, Old Man Gold Hunter. So Quinn, do you want to explain a little bit about the vocabulary term Hue-sa one?
You mean 회사원, 회사원, which means office worker or company employee. 회사, company, one, member or employee. So 회사원 literally means company member, which is how Koreans refer to office workers in general. It's a super common job title.
Hey Quinn, Blitz and Spray wants to know, how would you say the equivalent of desk jockey? Is there a more slang way of saying something similar to desk jockey in Korean?
Great question, Blitz and Spray. There's no direct one-to-one slang for desk jockey, but Koreans do have casual ways to talk about office workers, especially those stuck at a desk all day. One option is 사무직, which just means desk job or office work. But for something more slangy, 컴퓨터 앞에 앉아만 있는 사람, literally a person who only sits in front of a computer. Not exactly short, but definitely descriptive. 회사 노예, company slave, used jokingly but also kind of real, let's be honest. 책상 요정, desk fairy, a playful way to describe someone always at their desk. Koreans also use 월급 루팡, salary thief, for someone who sits at a desk but doesn't actually work much. If you want a fun, natural way to complain about being stuck at your desk, you could say, 난 하루 종일 책상에 박혀 있어. I'm stuck at my desk all day.
알았어요. 감사합니다. All right, let's look at the rest of our vocabulary. We got simply 아니요, no, and 학생, student. So I want to just focus in on the vocabulary for student real quick, because if you learn to recognize that syllable hak, that's going to open up a lot more vocabulary words. Like hakyo is school. Hakwan is like academy or like a like a tutoring school, a tutoring center. Hakwan. Hakseng, hakyo. So hakseng, student. Hakyo, school. No need to apologize for the distraction. Appreciate you bringing questions, Blitz and Spray. All right. So we've got our vocabulary there. Now let's look at the conversation a little more closely again. So I'm going to run through it again here. Quinn, do you want to try the conversation together again? But this time you be Andy and I'll be Sora.
천만에요. 언제든지.
Blitz and Spray, I've always said that someone who's really committed to it, you can learn the Korean writing system in a matter of days. 14 consonants, 10 vowels. I'll just give you a quick example here. So let's just say you want to learn. So let's go to the first consonant. Kiok. This letter makes a K or a G sound. G. Not a hard K, that's why I put it in lowercase, so a K or a G sound. Now let's go to a vowel. Ah. This letter makes an ah sound, kind of like ah. Put those together into a syllable. Because the vowel is vertical, we're going to make them side by side. So now we get ka. G, ah, ka. So you can see there that it's not terribly complicated. If we were to do another syllable, another letter, let's go to nian. This makes an N sound. So if we put nian with an ah, just put the N sound with the ah. Na. And if we go to the third letter of the alphabet, digut, this makes a D sound. Put it together with an ah, and you get da. So we have ka, na, da. Yeah, it's much easier to learn than you imagine when you look at this. And there are a lot of great tools with the technology out there today. You can go to all kinds of different online quizzes, so you can basically like flashcard your way through recognizing the letters quickly. And so you start to put that together. Kind of the next step of it, other than memorizing the letters, is memorizing how they're formed. So I'll show you that example here. So we talked about putting kyoka with the ah vowel. So this is basically a side-by-side formation with vertical vowels. You've got a kiok, ah, ka. Well, some of the vowels are more horizontally oriented. So if we do, for example, the O vowel, think of like an O with a long O, O. So like O, right? Well, with those horizontal vowels, instead of putting them side by side, if I put the kiok together with it, so we do that plus O, and we're going to get kiok on top and the vowel underneath. So what we're doing now is a top to bottom orientation, kiok, O. If you look in, go to my profile on my TikTok, or if you go to my YouTube page, you can find all the videos where I'm doing those initial lessons about how to learn Hangul, what all the sounds that all the letters make, and I'm happy to do some more lives about that. Honestly, tonight was just my first attempt to jump on here, see how this would work doing it, and especially see how it would work doing it together with AI jumping in and being my conversational partner. All right, Quinn, why don't you go ahead and try reading that first line of the conversation for me, and then I'm going to jump in and we'll keep going and do the whole conversation.
Got it. Here we go. Binashieyo.
That wasn't the first line. Remember, you're supposed to start with Andy saying, 안녕하세요, Andy예요. 이름이 뭐예요?
I got it. Here we go. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 이름이 뭐예요?
소라예요. Yeah, Quinn isn't working really great as a conversational partner here. So I'm going to have to try to refine that. I think the key thing is I tried having the AI read the conversation from an image. That didn't work. Then I tried just reading the conversation to AI and asking it to remember it. That clearly isn't working so well. So I think what I need to do is convert it to text, paste it in, and let it learn it that way. Yeah, you'd be surprised, Maria. You can learn this writing system amazingly quickly. Blitz and Spray, thank you for the follow. And Moonshadow, did I already say thank you for the rose? Appreciate that. So I'll run through the conversation here. So from the top line, and I'm gonna read it very slowly. 안녕하세요. So that's hello. Andy, so it's just the name Andy. Andy, and then the verb to be, 예요. So one of the things you're going to notice here in Korean, verbs come at the end of the sentence. That's why you see to be right here at the very end. Verb is always at the end. Andy, 예요. I'm Andy. Next, 이름이. 이름 means name. And then we're going to get to another key piece of Korean grammar, which is that in Korean grammar, words have subject markers and object markers that identify whether they're the subject or the object of a sentence. This E, that syllable right there, is the subject marker. There are two subject markers, E and ga. One is used if a word ends in a consonant, and one is used if it ends in a vowel. So you have E and ga. So if a verb ends in a vowel, we're going to use the ga subject marker. If it ends in a consonant, we're going to use the E subject marker. When we see 이름, got the M sound at the bottom there, that's a consonant, so we're going to have the E subject marker. 이름이. And then 뭐예요. So we've got the verb to be again right there. And 뭐 means what. Oh, sorry, wasn't showing that. So 이름이, there's the subject marker. 뭐 means what. 예요, to be, what is. So that first line again. Andy says, 안녕하세요. Andy예요. 이름이 뭐예요? Hello. I'm Andy. What is name? What is? What is your name? Sora simply replies, 소라예요. I'm Sora. And then Andy says, 소라 씨. So remember that vocabulary word there. That's the Mr. or Miss used with the first name. 소라 씨. 한국. Hanguk is Korea. Hanguk, Korean language. Hangukmal, Korean speech, or Korean language, more informally, like talking. 사람, person. 이에요. So this is the same verb to be, just like 예요, but we're using 이에요 because 사람 ends in a consonant. 소라 씨 한국 사람이에요. 소라, Miss Sora, Korean person, are you? Sora, are you Korean? And then vocabulary, I should have put this vocabulary word in there. 네 means yes. 네, 한국, Korea, 사람, person, 이에요, am. Yes, I'm a Korean person, or yes, I'm Korean. Andy responds, 저는, 저 means I. And Now we've got another grammar term. So these two were subject markers. Well, now we've come across our first object marker. So for someone learning Korean, it's really important that you have some understanding of basic grammar. When I first started at the language school in Monterey, first thing they did was, before we could start Korean class, they put us in an English grammar class. So the object markers are un or nun. So un for words that end in a consonant, nun for words that end in a vowel. So when we go back to our conversation and we see cho nun, cho meaning I, nun, we use nun because cho ends in a vowel. Miguk, so Hanguk was Korea, Miguk, United States. And guk, notice the common syllable there, guk means country. Miguk saram이에요, I'm American. Sora replies, ah. Ah means ah. Same thing, 똑같아요. 한국어, 영어 똑같아요. Ah. 그래요, 그래요. 그래요 means, is that so? And then 반갑습니다. 반갑습니다. I'm pleased to meet you. Now that grammatical construction, that conjugation there is something that we'll talk about more later, but this is the nida ending. It's a statement ending. It's a formal ending. And 반갑다 would be the infinitive of the verb. So just like back in the beginning, we talked about ida being the infinitive of the verb to be. So remember ida. So if we were to write the infinitive of the verb to be pleased to meet, 반갑다. Notice verb stem. So like when you get ready to conjugate it, you're going to take that and drop that da, and we're going to work from there. 반갑, and finish conjugating it, which is what was done here. 반갑습니다. 반갑습니다. 반가워요. That is something I need to figure out, Jan. By the way, Jan, thank you for being here. It's good to see you. I know there's supposed to be a way I can turn on the pointer on PowerPoint. It's harder, but it's not showing up for me. I don't know why. I can do a magnify. But that doesn't help the pointing very much, does it? I guess maybe it helps a little bit. But what I need is like I need the little red highlighter. Yeah, that drops it back out. Yeah, color would help. I'll work on that. It is one of the reasons for being here tonight, is to figure out what the problems are in being able to do this effectively. I love that we've got 20 people in the live here on TikTok. Maria, that must be you still sticking around on YouTube. Thank you for being here. By the way, thank you in Korean is 감사합니다, 감사합니다, or 고마워요, 고맙습니다. Several ways to say things. You know, I've always said that one of the things that I feel like indicates fluency in a language is when you've got multiple ways that you can say the same thing. So the early language learner knows one way to say things, and the moment they get out of that construct, they're stuck. So, but the main way to say thank you in Korean is 감사합니다. That's the one I would start with. You can always branch out later from there, but if we were to write that, and I want to show you this just so you can kind of start to see the formation of the writing for those of you who haven't picked any up yet. So we start with a kiok, which makes a k sound. Ah, this little box shape makes an M sound. Kam. So now we have k, kam. That makes an S sound. Makes an ah sound. Sa. So we've got k, s, kamsa. This little shape looks like a little head with a hat on it almost. Makes an H sound. Again, the vowel. And P up at the bottom. Now, P up makes kind of a B or a soft P sound. But the P up, and here, I can make this part bigger. Let me do that. There you go. So this makes a B or a soft P sound. But when we combine it with the next part, which is an N and an E vowel, ni. So if you say hap ni, hum ni, it starts to blend, and this starts to sound more like an M sound. Hum ni, and then digut makes a D sound, and the vowel again, da. So we get k, kam, s, sa, h, ham, n, i, ni, d, da. Now, some of you might be wondering, why am I not writing this with English letters for you? The reason I'm not writing it in English letters for you is because it will ruin you in your Korean learning. I'm gonna do it this one time. So if I try to write that. So how do we want to write kam? Well, I can show you this example right now. So I write that, and where people should be saying 감사합니다, they might look at that and go 감사합니다. And their ability to properly pronounce Korean has just been completely destroyed. Now, there is a whole transliteration system for how to write phonetically Korean sounds using English letters. And I can guarantee you that it makes very little sense to an English speaker. You could practice and try to learn it, and eventually your pronunciation might be okay, but you will work much harder at getting that right, and then you're not going to see signs in Korea written in those English letters in that system. You're going to see this. So don't do this. Just don't. Take the few days that it takes to learn the Hangul Korean writing system. By the way, Korean writing system is called Hangul. That part I will write for you in English, Hangul, but if we write it in Korean, it's Han Gul. Hangul. The Korean writing system was created, I should say maybe commissioned, but created by King Sejong. King Sejong the Great. I would have to look again to get the year. You'd think I would have memorized that by now. 1443. created in 1443 by King Sejong the Great. Created the Korean alphabet. And before that, Korean relied on Chinese characters, as many Asian cultures and countries did. But that was a big impediment to literacy across the country. So King Sejong and Hangul are credited with dramatically improving literacy rates in Korea. So today we've looked at and learned a simple conversation between Andy and Sora. I'm going to run through it one more time now, much more quickly. So Andy, in this first line, says, "Hello, I'm Andy. What's your name?" "안녕하세요. Andy예요. 이름이 뭐예요?" Sora replies simply, "I'm Sora. Sora예요." Andy replies again. Now this time he's going to say, "Miss Sora, are you Korean?" "Sora 씨, 한국 사람이에요?" And then Sora replies, "Yes, I'm Korean." "네, 한국 사람이에요." Andy then then states, "저는," he says, "I'm American. 저는 미국 사람이에요." And then Sora asks, "Ah, is that so? Ah, 그래요?" And then says, "반갑습니다. I'm pleased to meet you." So let's back up for a second. So who are we talking about here? There's Andy. That's Andy right there. And Andy is talking to Sora. Sora is the one with the red bag. And then Mina is the one that Sora is introducing. Mina's right there. And so Mina is Korean. Andy is American. And Sora we haven't learned much about yet. This is all from this lesson. The textbook that I use is Sogang Hanguko. It's created by Sogang University. It is available. I think I've got it on my Amazon web store. If not, you can find it on Amazon too. So it's Sogang Hanguko. Sogang Hanguko. Sogang Hanguko. So all of that being said, what do you guys think? Think I should keep going with the Korean stuff? I mean, I'm probably going to anyway. I know that somebody out there somewhere wants to learn more Korean, especially with the popularity of Korean dramas, K-pop. Plenty of good reasons to learn Korean. Not to mention, Korea is one of my favorite places to go. Great travel there. How are you doing there, Winter Willow? It's good to see you. Are you still online with us? Maria, yes. Using PowerPoint, but I'm getting fancy with it by here. Let's see. My camera's pointed the wrong way to show you that. But I'm getting fancy by. Oh, I know how I can show you. Basically, I'm using a green screen with it, putting a filter on it so that there you see my background. So now, if I flip through my PowerPoint, you can see all the green around it, which I normally make disappear by turning on that chroma key filter like that. And then that stuff disappears and you only see that part of it. Yes, still up. Time to go to bed soon. How long have we been on? We're coming up on an hour soon. We should go ahead and make it a good hour. So let's run through one more time the vocabulary that we covered here. So in terms of vocabulary, ibun, this person, bun, honorific form of person. So 2-syllable word there. Wait, why are we switching? Go back. Okay, E means this. Bun, honorific for person. Bun. Next word, nugu. I should have written whom there in the presentation because nugu is the object form of who. So not as the subject of a sentence, but as the object of a sentence. Whom, like whom, nugu. Yeo or ieo. So this is the conjugated form. This is Korean. Thank you for asking there. God is with us now. Thank you for the question. Yeah, this is Korean. Hangugo, Korean language. So yeo, ieo, conjugated form of the verb to be. When you see that yo ending on a verb conjugation, it can be a statement or it can be a question. So conjugations in Korean are very different from conjugations in, say, French or Spanish or German. Rather than looking at the conjugation as being for the subject pronoun, conjugation has more to do with, is it a statement, is it a question, is it honorific, is it informal, is it command form, is it a polite request form, is it future tense, is it past tense? I never answered the question with the computer or the AI. Which one didn't I answer? Watching the chat here, so you let me know what I didn't answer. All right, next vocabulary word from this conversation is she, Mr. or Miss used with first names. So that's where we see like Mina, she, Miss Mina. Or we could use it with, is it used here? Yeah, endi, she. Next word, Mina, just the name, Mina. We see Mina right here. Yeah, Mina right there. And then 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. Hello. Endi, she. Oh, now I did it. 회사원, office worker. 회사원. 아니요, no. I don't think I put it on the vocab list, but the other one we see here is, where'd it go? We got anío. I thought we had a yes in here. No, there's no yes in here, is there? Back. The Christ prophecy has happened. Any news on that? I have not heard any news on that. You wanting me to ask Quinn about that? That's kind of for the other podcast, but I'm not completely opposed to throwing in a question here. Hey there, Quinn, Sass Master. How about a quick question from your source, Emmanuel Benjamin, wants to know, is there any news about a Christ prophecy that has happened? Uh-oh. AI is having a hard time waking up here. Yeah, maybe another time. I think there we're probably about at the point to wrap it up tonight. I don't know what time schedule I'm going to be doing the Korean lessons on. Right now I'm just jumping in here and giving it a shot and starting to get some stuff posted. So I will figure out a schedule and work on being consistent on that. I am interested in feedback on that. I'm trying to think of what time zone is going to be the best for the people who might be interested in that kind of content. And Jan, I know I need to work on a way to be able to show you, to point to text more easily. So I'll work on figuring that out too. As always, I want you all to know how much I appreciate you. Thank you, the three of you that are here on YouTube Live. We are broadcasting both on YouTube and TikTok at the same time. Let me just wrap up by saying again, why learn Korean from a white guy? Number one, I think there's value, especially for early learners, in learning from somebody who is an English speaker who had to learn Korean, because the impediments, the obstacles are better understood by somebody who had to overcome them themselves. And as far as my training, I learned Korean language at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey and worked with it for 10 years in the Marine Corps, and then taught it for 4 years in high school at the high school level in the United States. My Korean, I will not ever consider myself to be fluent in Korean, but my Korean is very functional. I can certainly survive in the country, and it is what it is. Thank you. Appreciate the follow, the subscribes, and turning on the notifications and everything. Just in case any of you are worried that, my Korean is not that functional, 나는 1989년엔 해병대 입대하고 그 다음에 한국어를 공부하기 시작했습니다. 1년 동안 공부하고 1년 동안 한국에서 살았어요. Thank you. That's generous of you. I do have some skill. So, but especially at the basic grammatical level, I honestly feel like for those people who are in their first couple of years of learning Korean, I feel like I've got stuff to offer that in many ways is better for that early learner than what the native speaker can offer. But once you get past that beginning level, you've got to have instruction from a native speaker. And of course, like any language, you're better off if you can get yourself into an immersive environment where it's sink or swim, where you simply have to use the language to survive. We all know what that experience is like, studying a language in high school, and you never really use it. And 5 years later, all you can say is, I like cheese, and that's about it. My main languages, Jan, are Korean, French. Those are the two languages that I actually have formal study in. French was 4 years in high school, and another little bit of French in college. I did have some formal instruction in Russian too, but that was just community college while I was in high school. I spent a lot of years as a small business owner, having to speak some Spanish. So, yo hablo español un poco, pero no tan fluido. And I also spent several years, so my father did a lot of travel and business overseas, so he started teaching me Arabic when I was young. And then I spent a few years working with a gentleman who was from Lebanon. So I've got, just a little bit of Arabic that I can speak. And then through other people I've been close to and everything, I've learned a little bit of Vietnamese, tried to learn a little bit of Mandarin. I just enjoy languages. So, and I want to keep learning more. So in addition to doing the Korean language podcast, I'm also curious about the idea of tackling a language together with AI and just seeing who might want to go along with me on that. Because, probably the language I most want to work on and gain some level of functional capacity is Vietnamese. And I think I'm curious to see what could be done in doing that just from basically the limited knowledge I have working with AI together and do it in a podcast form so people can go along with me and learn together. So yeah, that's where we are. By the way, AI once again is making my logos. So I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I will work on figuring out a schedule for the Korean stuff. I'll keep posting these and make a separate podcast on my YouTube channel specifically for the Korean recordings. And I will try to keep up with making sure you can see clearly the difference when I go live in the title and everything, and graphic for both TikTok and YouTube. 여러분 감사합니다. 다음 번 또 뵙겠습니다. Thank you, everyone. I will see you next time. Linda, 감사합니다. Thanks for following, Linda. Moonshadow and Laddie203, thank you for the gifts. Maria and Winter Willow, thank you for being over here on YouTube, and Tommy Boy. And I will see you all next time.